I made 7 costly mistakes on my first river cruise that you need to avoid. The shoe mistake almost ruined 3 days of my trip, and the laundry surprise cost me over $200. If you're thinking about booking a river cruise, these mistakes could ruin your vacation too. Hi, I'm Thia of Traveling with Thia, and if you're thinking about booking your first river cruise, you probably have a million questions running through your mind right now. Should you do it? What's it really like? What do you need to know that nobody talks about? I've been on 2 river cruises now, the Venice Lagoon with Uniworld Boutique River Cruises and the Rhine with AmaWaterways River Cruises. And let me tell you, there were some surprises I wasn't expecting, including showing up to embark and finding a ship, just an empty terminal, and a lot of confusion. Before we dive in, I want to know, have you been on a river cruise? Drop yes if you have, no if you haven't, and maybe if you're on the fence. I read every single comment and I love hearing about your stories. So grab a cup of coffee and let me share what I really wish someone had told me before I stepped on that first river cruise ship. Okay, so if you've done ocean cruising before, forget everything you know about Embarkation. We show up to board our Uniworld Boutique River Cruise in Venice, expecting crowds, signs, staff, directing traffic, you know, the whole ocean cruise experience. We walk into this terminal and there's nobody there. Like, nobody. We're looking around thinking, are we early? Are we in the wrong place? Where is everyone? It was like showing up to a party and realizing you're 3 hours early. We can see the ship right there, but we're just standing in this empty terminal waiting for someone to tell us what to do. Finally, we decide to just walk out to the ship and ask. Turns out you literally just walk on board and check in at the front desk. That's it. No fanfare, no crowds, no chaos. It was so simple, it was confusing. Now, I know this varies by cruise line. Viking cruises tend to be more organized with their embarkation, while smaller cruise lines like Cross Europe River Cruises can be even more casual than what we experience. Drop a shrugging woman emoji in the comments if you've ever been this confused at the start of a vacation. Now, I know a lot of you women are wondering about dress code because I get this question constantly. What do I wear? How fancy is it? And let me tell you what I learned the hard way. My husband wore a suit and I wore a little black dress on our first night, and we were completely overdressed. Everyone else was in nice casual clothes. Think khakis and button downs, slacks and blouse. During the day, it was comfortable walking clothes, period. You're gonna be touring castles, walking through vineyards, exploring cobblestone streets, and pack layers. European river cruises can have a 20-degree temperature swing between morning and evening, especially in the shoulder season like April and May or September and October, which are actually the best times to cruise for weather and fewer crowds. Comment overdressed if you've ever packed way too fancy for a casual trip. Now, my husband enjoys a good cocktail, so this was important to us. And honestly, the drink policies can be confusing. Our Uniworld Boutique River Cruise, drinks available pretty much all day. Wine, beer, cocktails, and even the non-top shelf options were really good quality, according to my husband. The only thing not included was top shelf liquor. Wait, it gets more complicated. AmaWaterways River Cruises was different. They had select drinks available during happy hour, which was just 1 hour before dinner, but outside of that time, you're paying for cocktails. This varies widely by cruise line. Luxury lines like Scenic River Cruises includes premium drinks all day, while budget lines like Cross Europe River Cruises might only include wine with dinner. Viking River Cruises fall somewhere in the middle with wine and beer at meals. Are you Team World Boutique River Cruises or Team AmaWaterways Cruises for drinks? Let me know in the comments. This one really got me. We've been traveling through Europe for a few days before our cruise, and we had another cruise planned right after. So I'm thinking, perfect, I'll do laundry on the ship. Famous last words, right? Uniworld Boutique River Cruises had free self-serve laundry, washing machines and dryers that I use constantly. So naturally, I assumed AmaWaterways River Cruise would be the same. Nope. AmaWaterways River Cruises has a laundry service, but you pay for each item. And this is where it gets expensive. When you're traveling for weeks like we were, that adds up fast. I've since learned that most river cruise lines don't have self-serve laundry. Viking River Cruise doesn't have it unless you're in a suite. Avalon Waterways charge for service, and even luxury lines like Scenic River Cruises typically charge. Uniworld Boutique River Cruise was actually the exception, not the rule. I ended up doing a lot of hand washing in the cabin sink. I'll link my favorite travel laundry soap below. It's been a lifesaver on every trip since. Comment laundry if you've been caught off guard by unexpected cruise costs. Now this is something you can't plan for. Mother Nature. When we arrived for our AmaWaterways Rhine river cruise, the river was flooded. The water levels were too high for safe cruising. What I'd wish I'd known is water level disruptions are most common in late summer due to drought and in spring due to snowmelt. We were cruising in the spring, which is prime time for high water in the Rhine and Danube. Picture this, we show up to embark and there's literally no ship. It was like a really expensive game of hide and seek. For 3 days, we were docked right up against another ship. When the ships got as far down the river as they could, they docked us all together. It was like a parking lot of river cruise ships. And so we were right up against, window to window, our neighbor. I could see right into their room and then right into mine, except for the curtains, thank goodness. Imagine being that close to strangers, but for 3 straight days. AmaWaterways River Cruise handled it well, what they call ship swap. They bussed us around the flooded section and put us on a sister ship to continue the cruise. I have a whole video on that and you can watch it here. Most major cruise lines like Viking River Cruises, Avalon, Waterways, and Scenic River Cruises have similar contingency plans. But water level issues are just part of river cruising. Have you ever experienced a river cruise disruption? Share your story below. I love hearing how different cruise lines handle these situations. Okay, this one's embarrassing, but I have to share it because I see other people making the same mistake all the time. And this mistake literally hurt. I brought a brand new walking shoes right before this trip. Didn't break them in at all. I bought them 2 days before. By the time I got to the airport, I already had blisters because apparently I thought my feet were magical. River cruise excursions are basically walking tours every single day. Cobblestone streets, castle steps, vineyards, path. My feet were absolutely killing me by day 2. What I love about AmaWaterways is they offer different activity levels, gentle walking, active hiking, and even late riser excursions for people who don't want to start at 7 a.m. But even in the gentle walking, walks involve way more walking than I expected. Learn from my pain. Break in your shoes before you go. Test them on long walks. Your feet will thank you. And you'll actually enjoy those amazing excursions. Speaking of which, most excursions are included in your fare on a river cruise. You can sign up for them in advance on most lines, but it really doesn't matter because you can change your mind at the last minute and say, oh, I don't really feel like doing a bike ride today. I think I want to go and do a leisurely bus tour around town. Or the opposite, you might be like, ooh, I ate too much at dinner and I think I want that bike tour. Most of them are easy and you can just switch no matter what your preference is for that. Drop a foot emoji in the comments if you've made this same mistake. I know I'm not alone on this one. This is something I wish cruise lines were more upfront about. We had a woman on our AmaWaterways River cruise with mobility issues, and she was told that the crew would help her on and off the tour bus, but this turned out to be completely wrong. Due to liability issues, the crew cannot physically lift or assist passengers. She ended up relying on fellow passengers to help her, which wasn't fair to anyone involved. I've learned that European river cruises just aren't designed for mobility challenges. Some lines like Scenic River Cruises and AmaWaterways offer a few accessible cabins, but they sell out fast. If accessibility is a concern, U.S. river cruises on lines like American Cruise Line are much better equipped with the dock compliance. River cruise excursions involve a lot of walking on uneven surfaces, climbing steps, and getting in and out of bus multiple times a day. If mobility is a concern for you or someone you're traveling with, really research each specific excursion and have realistic expectations. Now, if you're thinking about river cruising solo, let me share what I've observed. Most river cruise passengers are couples or small groups, and the demographics skew older, think 55 and up. Dining is at shared tables, which can be great for meeting people, but as a solo traveler, you might feel like you're trying to join an established group. Some lines like AmaWaterways River Cruises and Viera Travel offer true single cabins or wave single supplements, but they're rare. So if you're solo and social, you'll probably love it. If you prefer to keep to yourself, it might feel overwhelming on such a small ship. Okay, let's pause for a second. I'm curious about something. How many of you research everything before you travel versus how many just wing it? I'm definitely a researcher. Sometimes I like to wing it though, which is why these surprises caught me off guard. Let me know in the comments which type you are. Look, I don't want to scare you away from river cruising. Both of my trips had absolutely incredible moments that I'll never forget. But I want you to go in with your eyes wide open. If you do decide to book, timing matters. For European river cruises like the Rhine and the Danube, aim for late spring or early fall, May through June or September through October. You'll avoid the summer crowds and heat, plus reduce the risk of water level issues. If you love having everything planned for you, learning from expert guides, and meeting new people in small group settings, you're gonna love river cruising. If you prefer total flexibility, spontaneous exploring, or doing your own thing on your own timeline, it might feel a bit restrictive. Unpopular opinion here, I think river cruising isn't for most people, and that's okay. And let's be honest about the cost. River cruising is expensive. You're talking $300 to $700 plus per person per night, depending on the cruise line, compared to $100 to $200 for ocean cruising. The small ships are all-inclusive nature, make it a premium experience with premium pricing. The key is knowing exactly what you're signing up for and setting realistic expectations. Now I know you probably have even more questions like, how do you choose between river cruise lines? What should you actually pack? How do you pick the right cabin? I've got you covered. If you're curious about Uniworld Boutique River Cruises specifically, check out this video where I share my full experience in their Venice Lagoon cruise. And here is my complete review of AmaWaterways River Cruise from our Rhine cruise experience. And if this honest, no-nonsense take on river cruising was helpful, subscribe so you don't miss my next video where I'm comparing river cruise cabins. And trust me, there are some surprises there too. Your turn. What questions do you have about river cruising that I didn't cover? Drop your questions below and I promise I'll respond to every single one. Tell me in the comments, what's your biggest river cruise fear? Or if you've been on one, what surprised you the most? Happy cruising!